I had traveled to one of our fire stations, the one on Atwood Avenue, and we walked in because how many years ago, Councilman Wells, did you put in the name after Chief Capelli?
As soon as the fire station was completed, we actually introduced an ordinance naming the new fire station after
So Councilman Wells introduced an ordinance several years ago before I was the mayor to name one of our fire stations after Chief Angelo Capelli. And obviously nothing was done. For whatever reason, my predecessor did nothing, so we had a plaque made. So when I walked into the station yesterday, and I had to buzz myself in, I came in with myself, and then I had the person putting up the plaque. And I happened to look at the dedication plaque. And what I saw, I was sickened of what I saw. It was disgusting, and I'm disappointed. I saw the fact, a few years back, there were 3 brave councilmen on our council. There were other brave councilmen, but at that time, they were brave and they stepped forward, and that was Council President Robert Russo, Councilman Joseph Wells, and Councilman Ernie Pinicelli, who voted against the firefighters' contract. So I guess the firemen got upset because what I saw is the most disgusting thing in my 57 years. What they did with the dedication plaque is they actually chiseled off the names of Councilman Robert Russo, Councilman Joseph Wells, and Councilman Ernie Pinicelli. And I got to tell you, it's a sad day in this town that these firemen would do this. And I just think the public needs to know. Either they got too much time on their hands, and of course no one wants to take the blame. We don't know when it happened. The plaque was put up in 2004, but I would probably bet the mortgage that it happened probably right after the council voted to reject the fireman's contract. So it's a disgusting time for our town. You know, we've got bad enough we got the stench, but this really stinks. And I've got handouts, and you're more than welcome to go to that fire station. And perhaps the firemen should be hiding because it's a disgrace. And I'm not blaming. I don't know who did it. I wish I knew who did it because I do have Chief Tambrini investigating it with his detectives. We'll see what happens. They didn't want to cooperate. Is that true, Chief? They were told by the union?
On the advice of their union. On the advice of their union, they refused to cooperate with the investigation. Detectives were there and reviewed the defacing of the town property, the plaque, in a secured area that's only accessible to firefighters, and the investigation is ongoing.
And Mayor, you think this is an outgrowth of the labor dispute?
You haven't been around much longer. Unfortunately, my predecessor gave the store away to the firemen for whatever reason. Okay? And this administration got in, and these council members got in and said, no more, enough is enough. The taxpayers can't afford you anymore. So we've had several grievances filed, but this, and I'm going to pass this out, this is the lowest form I just can't describe it. I mean, I've got 3 college degrees. I can't think of words. I've got a master's degree, a bachelor's, associate. There's no words to describe what they did. Someone did it. Okay? And it wasn't someone walking down the street, because as I questioned one of the firemen yesterday, he said, well, maybe somebody came in here. I said, yeah, you know, you could be right. It was probably some older person kind of walking their dog, came in with their tools, chiseled the names off because they knew that Councilman Russo, Wells, and Pinicelli voted against your contract.
What station was that?
Station 1. It's the one on Atwood Avenue, the new station.
Would one of the councilmen want to comment?
Oh, yeah.
One of the privileged school, which is fine. 2 words I guess I helped the mayor find is embarrassing and criminal. It's embarrassing because the majority of our fire personnel, they do a wonderful job, they're very professional, they take pride in their work, but I think they need to force their own. You know, they need to
police themselves,
I should say. Police themselves a little bit better, because this is an embarrassment to all the firemen, unfortunately, at this point. And it's criminal because whoever did this obviously committed a criminal act, vandalism. And it's even more criminal because the taxpayers had to pay for this and had to pay for these criminals to do this while they're working. So that kind of hits hard with me. We could handle being, we've been in politics a long time, we're in a tough town, we deal with some tough issues, so the defacement itself for us rolls off our back, but I think that the taxpayers have to pay for all new grass. It's disgusting. The mentality of the people doing this, they're out there trying to save our people's lives and putting our fires out. If that's the maturity level they're dealing with, that's pretty disheartening.
And it's obvious, Mark, you know you were on the last election. They found a candidate to run against me and the other members. As long as I'm there, they're not getting the keys to the taxpayers' money, as long as I'm there. They can try hard and they can run candidates against us, because the taxpayers have had it with them. And I feel bad for our new chief who's not been here that long, and I apologize, but, I mean, unfortunately, he's got, as they say, the hand he was dealt with. But, this is ridiculous. It's embarrassing for me to sit up here and have to tell you this, but the public needs to know. This is just, I don't even want to call it criminal, it's disgusting. And these firemen should be ashamed of themselves. They should be ashamed. And I said to one of them yesterday, because of course, nobody knows anything. I said, you know what? You guys should police yourself. Someone knows who did it. But I'm going to pass this out, and if you really want to get a real feel, because they had the audacity, after and these letters are welded on, so they had to chip the letters off one at a time. And they had the audacity to get magic marker in there, because there's a silhouette of the council members' names. And they got magic marker. So you talk about malicious damage. And my question was, I pay an assistant chief $170,000 a year, and we've got 3 battalion chiefs that make between 110, well, I've got the numbers, between 106,292 to 142,246. What the hell are they doing up there? I've had it. I've had it with the fire department. I've had it with their threats. Look what they did to Charlie Lombardi. I'm not going to fold. They can run the candidates against me next year in the council. They ran candidates against all of us. We're still here because the taxpayers know. The taxpayers have had it with the Johnston Fire Union. They've had it up to their throats.
When exactly was the contract rejected?
Billy, do you remember what the contract was?
Yeah, I think that's probably, I think it was before I was actually negotiating with the town. That was during,
We weren't here.
It was settled through arbitration.
You don't remember the year, though?
Oh, it was one prior to this.
I'm not 100% sure. I want to say it was probably around the 2005, 2006 that contract. I would like to say that the majority of the men and women in the Johnston Fire Department are good people. I find that it's probably a handful who are used to walking into town hall and laying down, this is what we want in our next contract, and that's what they would get. It got to the point where the majority of the council, and I applaud my council president, because when we talked about it, he was right there in the front. We said enough is enough. It's just too much. You could see back in the early 2000s, the trend in the economy. There didn't seem to be enough money to go around year after year, and we had to get a handle. The days of just putting your demands down on the table and that's what you got, they were gone. And to be honest with you, I chuckled when the mayor called me about this, and I said, I guess I must have been doing my job when I was on the council, because it did get to the people. Again, I have to say, the majority of those first responders are good people. I know them. Some of them used to play Little League Baseball for me when I was a coach. It's not all of them that feel that way. Most of them are very satisfied. But I'll say this publicly on television, but if you're not happy with what we pay you here in the town of Johnston, there are other communities that you can apply to. But to publicly deface town property is wrong. It is wrong. And that's the main reason why I'm here today, to support the mayor on this.
Honestly, quite frankly, it was by accident, because, obviously they're not fans of mine. They're not. There's no one there that's the president of the Polisena Fan Club, and that's because I don't give in to them, and I'm not going to give in to them. But anyway, I just happened to go there yesterday because we were putting up this plaque for former Chief Angelo Capelli, and I just happened to stumble upon it, to be quite frank with you. And quite frankly, I guess when it started getting around, they tried to blame the previous fire chief, who's no longer with us. And from what I understand, word got back to me, he'll sign an affidavit. He knew nothing about it. And then they try to say, well, they use that station. I guess they think we're stupid. They use that station for voting, but the voters stay where the fire trucks are. They don't go inside the building. And it's a secure building. It's not that someone can go in there off the street. I had to buzz myself in. When I walked in, I was like a skunk at a lawn party, believe me when I tell you. And then when I saw that, I quite frankly, I lost it. I immediately called the fire chief, and I called the police chief. They came right down. And this is probably the most disgusting thing I've seen that the fire department, any fire department has done in this state. And I'll pass them off to you. But I encourage all of you that are here today to go to that fire station and get it on video and look at it.